Welcome to HorseGirl TV. I'm your host, Angelea Kelly. Today we meet a real cowboy in the modern world. So Rich, thanks so much for letting us come out and watch you work cattle today. We really appreciate your time. I know it's valuable.
No problem, no problem.
So I hear that you are an honest-to-God cowboy.
Well, I don't know. I guess that's what I am, the modern day cowboy. There's not many of us, especially in this area, that are still doing it the old way. We do everything on horseback. When it comes to riding cattle, doctoring, we rope and brand our calves. We use dogs. So as far as cowboying hasn't changed much. We still go to the mountains in the summer. The cow truck, that's a new deal. We aren't driving cattle from here to California like they used to do. And they did that at one time, driving from here over the Siskiyous to California. So
wow.
Just technology's changed a bunch. It's been my whole deal and the way I've been brought up, trying to keep that tradition alive. It's dying.
What's a typical day like for you?
A typical day, a lot of it would just depend on what time of year. Like right now, I get to the horse barn around 6 o'clock in the morning. I'll call in my string of horses. And this time of year, we're checking yearlings. We're riding yearling cattle. We're riding through about 600 head a day. And the heat's hard on cattle and it's hard on horses. And it's hard on your dogs. So what we'll do a lot of times is we start early. We'll go hard till 11 or noon where it starts getting hot. And then I'll come back in and I'll get me a fresh set of horses. And I'll throw on my pack bags and I'll go fix fence. A lot of ranches these days, they have a problem. They'll drive them clear to the corral. Well, what we do is we'll rope them. We rope them right out there in the pasture. If you're handy enough to do it, I think it's the way to do it because it's less stress on the animal.
Now, is that what y'all were doing today?
Yeah, well, what we were doing today is we'd gathered a bunch of cattle in here to sort out some pairs, and we just had a couple of calves that looked hot, touch of pneumonia hitting them, so we thought we'd just give them a touch of antibiotic since we had them.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of taking them and banging them through a squeeze chute, if a guy can just slip in there real nice and slow and reach out there and just kind of get a rope on them, it's so much less stress. But if you have the wrong guy doing it, who's doing nothing but running him, can't get him roped, it's a lot worse. So that argument's argued both ways. People say, I'll rope him out there, it's hard on them. Well, they've never had somebody who could just do it right. And it's just like any job. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And it doesn't matter who you are, you're gonna miss a shot roping. If I never missed a shot, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I'd be in the NFR roping. So out here, when you're out in the open, it's catch as catch can. But our main deal is keeping cattle quiet. That's our job, is take care of these cattle out here and to try to be the best at what we do.
So Rich, how did you get involved in cowboying?
Oh, kind of just growed up with it. Family's done it. My granddad, he did basically what I'm doing. As far as taking care of cattle, working on ranches, starting horses, shoeing horses. I enjoy it. It's a lifestyle. It's not a glamorous lifestyle. People think you're just riding around hollering at cows, and it's not that glamorous. You can ask my wife. It's a 7-day-a-week deal. You never know what your hours are. A lot of times, the best time we get to spend together, her and my son, is they'll be helping me. We'll all be a horseback. They'll be helping. She didn't really grow up around it, and it was a shell shock to her. Now she's dang good help, but it's a different lifestyle when somebody gets into it. It's a lot of work, and we don't make the best money.
It's hard.
It is.
Sun up, sun down.
It is, because I get a day, and there's times if I don't have anything to do and I can sneak away, the last thing I want to do is look at a horse or a cow. I don't want to go for a leisurely trail ride. I don't want to be around a horse. A lot of people say you gotta have a side job just to afford cowboying.
But you do this full time.
I do this full time, and this is what I do. I make a living at it. I shoe horses late at night when I get done. Ride a lot of colts for people, start a lot of horses, and I use them as working horses. They're in my string, and they are just ranch horses, but then people come to me to buy horses, and they say, wow, these horses are really broke. Well, they've done everything. They've had a job.
What would you say is the cowboy's most important tool?
I would say it'd be your horse and your dog. One good dog, he's worth 2 good guys. One bad dog, you got a heck of a wreck going. But some dogs have it, some dogs don't. I've got anything from the Border Collie to the McNabbs and Kelpies. The Border Collie's probably your best dog as far as a mind, and they are loyal. I like the McNabb Kelpie crosses because they got a lot of grit to them. And with these cattle, you'll get these cattle on the fight, and the dog needs to stay in there and want to get a hold of them. Things do happen to them, but we do take care of them. We'll come along after we're riding all day. Those dogs, they don't quit you. They got a lot of heart. We come to a watering hole, we'll stop and let those dogs have a break. It's just like the horses or anything. These dogs, they have a job and they're loyal. They want to do it. Good dogs.
I just like doing that. We have what we call HorseGirl mail. Chris from Seattle wrote in, what would a cowboy look for in a good ranch horse?
It's just like there's a lot of different opinions. The thing I'm looking for the most is that horse got to have a lot of cow to him.
By a horse that has a lot of cow in him, you mean that pays attention to the
pays
cattle?
attention, have what they call cow sense. You can tell a lot by just a colt getting him around a cow, and as soon as I'm riding one and he kind of pins his ears at one, that's what I like. I'll look at breeding. Just some horses are just known for it.
And they're all quarter horses?
They're all quarter horses.
Okay.
And I like a horse who's just real calm and can handle the rope around him and the cattle and the dogs around his feet. There's a lot of people, they like big horses, but I like a horse right about 15 hands. I like them because they seem to be a little more athletic, quick. When you're in here working, especially, take a big horse just like a big person. A littler guy's going to be able to spin around and make a move rather than a big guy. I'm only 28 years old, so I can't say that, I've done it by experience. I mean, I'm pretty young, but what I've found is it's not the size of the horse, it's the heart. And I want a horse also that's going to go and not quit me.
Okay.
And, good feet and legs on them. They've got to make it.
Hence the quarter horse.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So the horse, as far as what you're looking for, or what I look for, is just a good, kind eye to him that's got a lot of cow to him.
Okay.
And a lot of heart that wants to stick with you and do it.
Don't forget to send your questions to mail@horsegirltv.com, and you could be featured on a future episode.
Well, that about wraps it up for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.